do is we're going to go ahead and set up our print cut workflow with Digital Factory OKI Edition. Okay. Now the cutting option, okay, it is a optional product. Okay, it's not included. Okay, so if a customer has our DFOKI product, they're using it for transfer printing, graphics printing with the Pro 9000 series printers, for instance, and they want to increase their revenue or they want to open up to other markets where maybe they didn't really think that they could get into because it would require buying another machine and or a different type of machine, different type of system. Well, now with their OKI, okay, which is capable of transfer printing, graphics printing, when we finally release build 7, we will have our duplexing features. So for desktop publishing, we will be able to support desktop publishing with no problem with our duplexing option. And then we have our kind of short run label and sticker printing option using our cutter module. Now, when the customer installs the RIP, typically they're only able to install the printer driver. But once they have the cut module installed, okay, once they have the cut module installed, they can actually install a cutter. Now, we, CADlink, we support cutters from A to Z. I mean, we support hundreds of cutters. So we support the most common ones on the market. So you've got the Creation cutters, which are Chinese-based cutters, Dika, Foisan, GCC, Graphtec, Gerber, obviously Ioline, older cutters, Liu, Mimaki, Muto, Roland cutters, okay, Suma, Sakabo, as well as Saga and Vinyl Express cutters. Okay, so for this particular application, we're going to use the Sakabo SC30. Okay, the reason for this is that, for an example, the 9541, OKI Pro 9541, is an A3 sized machine, okay, A3, A3 plus. And the Sakabo SC30 cutter is a sheet fed cutter. Okay, so it's a cutter that you can actually load in the sheet fed A3 pages for cutting. So it's actually a pretty nice combination. And also it's not a very expensive cutter. I think it's probably right in that 2,000 euro range. 1,800 GBP range, probably somewhere around there. Or, if the customer already has a Suma cutter or GC or Graphtec, they can use those cutters and install them. So we can go ahead and install a cutter. And you notice we have our cutter installed along with our devices. So again, this is under devices and manage device menu. Now, once I've installed the cutter, I need to go to my queue and assign the cutter to the queue as well. Okay, so in my 9541 queue, I'm going to use the sheet cut queue, not the apparel. The apparel I'm going to leave for transfer. And I've got the sheet cut queue. Now for here, I'll probably use, label stock, maybe a glossy label stock or a matte label stock. So I might want to use just a 4-color queue. And if I use a clear label stock, okay, that's laser printable, I may want to set up my cutter for my auto whiten clear queue as well. So if I double click, or actually, I'm sorry, if I go to my queue and manage queues, okay, so here's my queue manager. And if I go to my 9541 color, you'll notice now, okay, if you don't have the cutter module installed, you will not see this option. But if you have the cutter module installed, here you can go ahead and set your cutter. Okay, obviously I don't have a physical cutter installed, so I'm just going to set that to file for now. And then the other cue that I wanted to use was the auto white and clear cue. Okay, so I'm going to set the cutter for my auto white and clear cue. Okay, we'll go ahead and close that. Okay, now once you do that, you'll notice that this new little window here pops up. Okay, so this, we can show our print preview, we can show our print and cut preview. We can also show only our cut preview if we want to. Okay, so the first step is one, picking your material size. So we'll go with A3. I'm going to go with the 4 color, and for the auto white and clear, I'll go ahead and set A3 for that one as well to start with. Okay, to configure my cue. The next step is to set up our marking system. So we got our production markup here. So what we want to do is go ahead and select our markup system. Now, typically you'll have your basic crop marks, your weed marks, and barcode to find job. Okay, and then you'll notice that here I have Sacabo. Now, if you have a Suma, you'll probably have Suma cut lines. If you have a Graphtec, you'll have Graphtec type 1 and 2. So depending on the cutter, you will have the selection of the cut system type. Okay, so our cut system here is going to match what the cut system of the cutter is. Okay. All right. So with the Sacabo, what it does is it does generate a barcode with the file, and then you drop that into the cutter. The cutter has an optical sensor, and it'll read that optical sensor. And if it's tapped in with Digital Factory, it'll read the sensor, and it'll look for that job and that cut data, and it'll know what cut data it needs to output. So the Sacabo machine is actually quite unique. The Sumas can do the same thing as well. Okay. Okay, so in here, we can adjust our margins. Okay, so if we want to kind of max out our area here, we can try to max out our area here. Now, obviously, because we have to print the crop marks and our barcode, it is going to limit our printable area, but that's the nature of the beast when you're dealing with print and cut. Okay. Then you could go in and you can set all the other parameters that you want to set. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click OK. And we'll go ahead and import some images in here. So we'll go ahead and import all right, so we'll go ahead and import a few images in here, then we'll work this out. All right, so once we have our image in here, okay, now typically when you're working with rips and you want to do cut lines and so forth, okay, you have to do those cut lines and so forth in a vector-based program. So it would have to be an Illustrator or Corel. You'd have to create the cut contour line, apply a stroke to it. We're using whatever cutter driver system you have. Then you have to take that artwork and export it out into your RIP. And then hopefully your RIP supports both the printer and the cutter to do the workflow. So it's kind of a really kind of a complex workflow, especially, if the cutter has its own software, the printer has its own software, then you've got to print out of one, make sure you've got the crop marks correctly, and then take it over, put it in the cutter and cut it using the other driver. So it gets, it gets confusing, and it's a workflow that takes more time. And as we know, time is money. So in Digital Factory, Our RIP is the only RIP on the market that includes in-RIP cut contour creation. And it's as simple as this. We've got my graphic here. Now you notice that here it's got my crop marks, my barcode generated, my barcode, which is automatically generated. It's going to be based off the file name. Okay. And if you notice, if I have the graphic selected, okay, if I'm not using cut at all, you will not see the contour cut button there. So if I switch to the 8432 queue here and import the same image, you notice that here there's no cut contour item here, just the color adjust crop mark invert mirror. However, if I go back to my 9541 queue, I now have this contour cut option. Okay, so if I have my graphic, I'll go ahead and click on contour cut. It's going to bring up our contour cut window. Okay. And in here, what I want to do is a contour cut. I want to create a cut line. Okay. So in here, I can go ahead and kind of reduce my contour edges. Typically, I like to work maybe in the 240 range. That typically gives me a good, good cut contour. Here, you could set the offset amount. Okay. So we could do a negative amount. Okay. So if we wanted to do, say, a bleed in into the black so that we don't have any white poking out. Okay. It's almost like a choke. Or if we want to have an edge, a white sticker edge on the outside, we can do that. Okay. If we want to cut inner contours as well, we can do that. Okay. If we wanted to weed it out. Okay. But in this case, I just want it to be a white sticker that's going to be cut on the outside. So at this point, I can go ahead and click Update Preview. It'll go ahead and process the file. And there you have it, our cut line. Real simple. Okay. Now, again, I can go in and then adjust my cut contour. I can update the preview again. Okay, so it's a lot easier than having to do this in Corel. I can do it on the fly if I want to bleed it in. Okay, I'll update the preview. Okay, and if you notice over here in my preview window, it also shows up in my preview window. Okay, so we'll go ahead and set this back to 0.20. Update the preview. And there you have it. We'll go ahead and apply that. And now I've got my job here. Let's go view single page. I'm going to do a single page view here. So I'm just working with the one object for now. Now at this point, we can actually duplicate or create copies. Okay, so if we want to create copies. Okay, so obviously I don't have enough space to go too wide here. So what I might do is take that, rotate it, and we'll go ahead and drop that over here and go there. Okay, so I can fit a few more on my page. I can center those onto my page now. Okay. I could set spacing in between. Okay. So this is the beauty of our product. So we can actually go ahead and space this out if we want. And now I'm ready to print. Okay. Now, at this point, I can show the print preview only. Okay. This will print with the barcode. I can do print and cut preview. And then I can just show the cut preview if I want. Okay. So at this point, we could take that job, okay, and we can send it to print. Okay. Now, because this has the barcode generated for the cut lines, okay, the cut data is part of that barcode. When I put it in the cutter, it'll read that barcode and it'll apply the cut data to that. Now, if it's a different cutter that uses an Opus, for instance, like a Roland or a Graphtec, where it doesn't use a barcode system, or Suma, perhaps. Okay, if you just have an optical eye and you have your crop marks on there, then what you would do is you would print this and then you would load it in the cutter and you would send the cut data. Okay, when you send the cut data, it'll send only the cut data with the optical registration. Your cutter's optical eye will automatically kick in and it'll go ahead and run that for you. Okay. All right, so again, we could set this up real simple. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and set this back to one copy. And I'm going to go ahead and set up a few more cut contours here. Set that to 1. Okay. Now this one here, I'd probably want to go with the larger spacing. There we go. So I could go wider if I need to, but I'll go with this one here. I'll go ahead and apply that one. We got my next file here. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and nest these. Whoops. This one will just put the line right on the edge here. So we're going to apply that. Okay. And for instance, you have something like this. You don't want to print the yellow, but you want to cut out the Adidas logo. So what we could do first is we could do the knock me color out. We can knock out that yellow. And then we could take the graphic and contour cut it. Okay. So there's my graphic for the Adidas logo here. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink that down a bit. And we got the last one here. Let me shrink this down a bit. So what I want to do is want to nest these. So shrink these down a bit. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take this one. Okay, so we'll take this image, do the same thing. I'll do okay, so we'll throw the other contour on here. Okay, so we've got the nice contour there. Okay. And apply that one as well. All right, so we've got all our jobs here. Let's go back to multi-page view. Gonna auto nest. Select auto nesting, and I want to auto nest all content. Okay, so this way I can print all these stickers here. Go ahead and rotate that one. Okay, so now I can go ahead and print these all on one sheet. Okay, I don't have to print these on individual sheets. Okay, so this is our print and cut workflow. Again, very unique feature. We can also set up templates. Go to my print media here. We'll go ahead and set up a new template. I'm going to go ahead and base this off an A3. We're missing A3 here. Well, we'll go ahead and do it as custom. We'll do 2885. And sorry. Yeah, this is 4115. Okay, so we'll call this A3 template. Okay, so we can go ahead and call that A3. We can go ahead and we can add in the size of the object we want. Okay, and then we have these custom cut patterns, so we can actually create a little circle. We could do a circle, a star, a rectangle. So we could actually create these, and it'll create the actual cut line as well. So if you're just doing a simple sticker, like this graphic here, and you just want a square sticker, okay, this is where templates is actually quite useful. You can set that up as a cut pattern and use it as a generic cut style. Okay, so right now I'll just select the circle right now. I'm not sure the exact size of the circle, so I'm just going to kind of play it by ear. So we'll just say I'm going to create a 10 by 10 here, and we'll go 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter from the edge, or we'll go 3 by 3 actually. And the scaling will scale to fit. Alignment, center, no mirroring. And we'll use the circle. Rotate, none, no mirroring. Let's leave that as is. Rotate, none. Yeah, we'll leave that centered. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add that. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and add in. Okay, so I could go ahead and copy these. And actually what I want to do is I want, so I want these separate. So we'll go 1, 2. This one's going to be 3. This one's 4. Okay. So what I've done here is created basically these simple templates. We'll go ahead and click Save and Close. Okay. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and delete these. And we'll go in here. And what we want to do is set our media now for template media. Okay, we'll go ahead and select our template. Okay, now you could also set limit the media to the maximum cutter dimensions. You can cut template slots using a process, clip the jobs on import using the template slot cut pattern. Okay. Okay, so we have, and if you notice, we have the cut line there. Okay. So at this point, we can go ahead and import our images because I set this up to be multiple. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, and we had 6, I think, right? So we'll go 6 here. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2. This one I left as is. This one should have been shrink down as well, correct? Because this is going to be my cut line. So I had that, should have had that shrunk down. But that's okay. I can always adjust that afterwards as well, and then re-import that file in. Now, if you notice, it's importing each individual job as we come in. So again, I can go in and I can adjust that template if I need to. So if I go back to my media setup, okay, and this one here, change and scale to fit. This one, change, scale to fit. This one here, change, scale to fit. And actually, I probably would need to do that to all of them. Go ahead and save, close, okay. No, I'm not going to change it. So if I go back and import these files in, it'll import into the proper space. Okay. And then from here, I can actually take that, print and cut it as well. Okay. So this pretty much covers the print and cut workflow. So this gives the customer the ability to use the printer for short run label printing. I actually do have a customer in South Africa that's using our software with the 9541 for doing labels for bottles. And what we did was we set up templates for that. Now, obviously, he was just doing rectangular shapes, nothing where he needed an actual third-party cutter, but we set that up so he can hand cut them down. But had he, if he had a cutter, he could easily print, take it out, put it in the cutter, and then have the cutter automatically do it. Again, saving time. Okay. So here you have it. Again, we can also use this with the white underbase. Go back in here. Go ahead and take these. We'll go ahead and copy these to the other. Okay, so if you wanted to move files in between queues, that's how you do it. So you just select the job you want to move, and you can either move it or just copy it. Okay. So with these files here, I can go ahead and do a cut contour. Okay, so I'll go ahead and set up my cut contour. Got my cut contour, go ahead and apply that, right? So if I go ahead and rip this, I'll just go ahead and rip it only. And then view the raw data. Okay, if I view the raw data, I can actually see where my white is going to print. Okay, so it's going to print my white and then the CMYK on top. Okay, then it's going to give you that your white. Okay, so we can print that. And actually, I think I had the wrong queue set up. Yeah, I had auto clear top. That's why it was showing clear and not white. So we want auto white bottom. Okay, the beauty of our RIP again is we can go ahead and go back and fix any of the mistakes we made with the simple open page to get rid of the RIP of the file, so we don't have to delete it and re-import it. If we go back to our view raw data, and there you go. So if you notice, it actually shows our cut line as well, okay? Because I'm showing the print and cut preview, okay? Actually, no, it's showing the actual outline of the image. Yeah. Okay. So if we go in here, we can go ahead, deselect all, and now it shows white here. So if we go, we can see where the white's going to print. Okay. And there you have it. So, I mean, we can do this with our white printing, and then it'll give us our cut lines. So if we are printing this on the transparent material, this area here would be transparent part of the sticker. So it gives us a little bit of bleed. But again, if you're doing the sticker on transparent, you could do it that way, or you can tighten up the cut line. Okay. And then from here we can print, or we can go print and then cut from here. Okay. Now, if you're using, yeah, we typically don't want to do print and cut. Okay, this typically is more for like a hybrid type printer that has the cutter built in and so forth, where it's going to print and then feed back and cut. Okay, so here you're going to do print and then you're going to do cut. Okay, you can also set up cut by colors. Okay, so we can go in and add additional cut colors if we want. Okay, so there you have it, guys. This is another application that OKIs can be used for. Okay, obviously this is an application that OKI really does not promote yet. I'm working on that, so we're working with them here very closely here in Europe, North America, Latin America, as well as in Japan. So hopefully, you know, we will make a combined effort to really kind of push these solutions. And again, with Digital Factory, you are now opening the OKI up to many applications. So you've got the transfer market, the graphics market, desktop publishing market, and now the print and cut market. And we also support the Pro 1050, 1040 label printers, and we will support print and cut for those workflows as well, using these, I believe it's the Suma. There's a couple of other cutters. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's I think 3 cutters right now that we currently work with for the label cutting as well. So you could do the label, you know, contour cutting on labels as well with the Pro 10 series machine. Okay. Anyway, that is about all that we have. Also, just kind of a teaser, the next build release for Digital Factory OKI Edition, we will have a costing feature available. So this is kind of a teaser. Our costing will be far more efficient than any other costing calculator for a laser printer on the market right now. TransferRip just gives you the toner cost, but it doesn't come close to ours, because we actually put in the fuser cost, transfer belt cost, weight bottle cost, your toners, your drums, your labor, your taxes, material. We go the extra mile and can provide much more detailed information than just about any other RIP out there currently. Okay, so this is just a little teaser. Okay, and also if you have not seen our duplexing option, our duplexing option would be listed in our layout manager. And this is where you can do basic duplexing or template duplexing, as well as book templates. So we do offer a lot more capability than what the OKI driver, the standard PostScript or PCL driver, currently offers. So if you have customers that are looking for more functionality, more features, for their OKI device, look no further. Our product will provide all of that. Another feature that you will see in the upcoming release is we are able to choke individual channels as well as plane shifting. Okay, this is very common in the laser market because it's a planar device. So it's printing one color, another color, and another color on top of it. So it's got planes that it's going through. And what happens is sometimes you get some offset. So what we offer is we do offer a shift. Okay, so we can offset in the positive as well as in the negative, as in the X and Y directions. So for instance, your CMY is good, but your white is off. We can go in and adjust that. You know, if your cyan is off, we can adjust that. Okay, so these are some new features that are going to be included in the next release, which is our Build 7 release of our DFOKI product, which should be coming out soon. Okay, the current product is Build 6.